Om Shri Sai Ram, Dharma Vahini by Bhagwan Shri Satya Sai Baba, Chapter 4, Dharma of a Istri. People refer to various achara dharmas or duties, rights and obligations, but these are not the basic absolute dharmas. They are only the sutras or the rules and regulations meant for the sake of worldly living. They are not supreme or highest dharmas. All these moral codes, rules of conduct, approved behavior, and accepted acts are prompted by two types of beings born, that is Istri and Purusha, that is feminine and masculine. They cannot Prakriti or nature or creation with threefold power or three gunas, and Paramatma, only dweller of everything, that is Jada, inert, and Chaitanya, consciousness. All this creation came about by the association of Jada and Chaitanya, is it not? So too, all the various dharmas, mores, have emerged for those sake. What is the reason for all these dharmas? When we inquire deeply, the answer is on account of these two types of beings, that is Istri and Purusha, that is feminine and masculine. Therefore, the dharma of a Istri and the dharma of a Purusha and their acharas or the practices and their acharas or the practices are the chief dharmas for worldly perspective. Whatever is taught or demonstrated by any noble person cannot go beyond these two types, isn't it? The Purusha dharma or the dharma for the male and Istri dharma for the female are therefore the important ones. Other codes and disciplines are but auxiliary dharmas, tributaries like the streams that meet the Godavari when it is coursing forward. You have to pay attention to the main river, which is the source, and not the tributaries that join it. Similarly, the chief worldly dharmas should be taken as the basis and not the auxiliary or subsidiary dharmas. From this, it is very evident that there are only two types of worldly dharmas. One is Istri dharma and the other is Purusha dharma. Istri dharma or the dharma for women, the feminine principle, is spoken of as the power of Bhranti or delusion that emerged out of the Lord, that is Bhranti of God, as the Shakti power with which he equipped himself out of his own will. This is Maya, beginningless power of the Lord, the feminine form. This is why a woman is considered as Parashakti Swarupa, embodiment of the supreme power. She is the faithful companion of man, his fortune, since she is the concretization of the will of the Lord. She is mystery of creation, wonder of wonder, the complete replica of the macrocosm, that is Pindanda or the microcosm, the queen of the home, the true representative of the Mayas or the supreme powers, art of administration, the fortune and illumination of the home, and the lovable ally of man. Women who are to be taken as the repositories of the Shakti Swarupa or the embodiment of energy are in no way inferior to man. How full of patience, fortitude, devotion and love is their nature. They are endowed with many virtues. Their Atma Nigraha or the self-control is seldom equalled by men. They are the exemplars and leaders to tread the spiritual path. Swarata Rahita Parishuddha Prema, pure, selfless love is an inborn quality in women. Women who are full of knowledge, who are cultured, who are bound by love and who are keen on discriminating whether their words and deeds are in conformity with dharma. Such women are like the goddesses Lakshmi, bringing joy and good fortune to the home. That house where the husband and the wife are bound together by the concord of holy love, where every day both are engaged in the reading of books that feed the soul, where the name of the Lord is sung and His glory remembered. That home is really the house of the Lord, Vaikuntha. The woman who is attached to her husband by means of love is indeed a flower radiating rare perfume. She is a precious gem shedding luster in the family. A wife endowed with virtue is really a chudamani, or the brilliant crown jewel for the husband. Pativrata dharmam, or the chastity, is the ideal for womankind. By the strength derived from that virtue, they can achieve anything. Savitri was able, through that power, to win back the life of her husband, Satyavanta. Satyavanta, she actually fought with the Lord of Death. The glorious chastity of Anasuya, the wife of sage Atri and the mother of Lord Dattatreya, is well known. She was able to transform even the Trinity, that is Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara, into infants. Nalayani could, by the mysterious force of her chastity, stop the movement of the sun to save the life of a leper husband. Pativratyam, or the chastity, is the crown jewel of women. That is the virtue for which she is most extolled. Its power and beneficent consequences defy description. By means of her chastity and the power it grants, she can save herself from calamity. Chastity is the very breath of her life. She can save herself by her own efforts and wins, without doubt, even the heaven. By the power of her word, Damayanti burned into ashes a hunter who attempted to misbehave with her and harm her. She stood by her husband, King Nala, through thick and thin, when he lost everything and entered into a forest wearing only one piece of cloth. Lajja, or modesty, is quite essential for a woman. It is her priceless jewel. It is against dharma for a woman to overstep the limits of modesty. Besides, crossing the limits brings about many calamities. Why? The very glory of the womanhood will be destroyed. Without modesty, woman appears devoid of beauty and culture. Anakva, or the humility. Anakuva, or humility. Vinaya, Vidyata, or good manners. Komal Tattva, or meekness. Sadhu Tattva, or sensitivity of feelings, surrender to high ideals. And Madhuratva, or the sweetness of temper. Lajja is the peculiar blend of all those qualities. It is the most invaluable of all the jewels of women. The modest woman will ever keep within limits through her Vachitya Bhavanam, or the innate sense of propriety. She becomes automatically aware about which is proper behavior and which is improper. She will stick only to virtuous deeds and behavior. Modesty is the true test of a woman's grandeur. If a woman has no modesty, she is injuring the interest of womanhood itself, besides undermining her own personality. Such a woman is like a fragrantless flower which the world does not cherish or honor or even approve. The absence of modesty makes life for a woman, however rich in other virtues, a waste and a vacuum. Modesty lifts her to the heights of sublime holiness. The modest woman yields authority in the home and outside, in the community as well as in the world. Some might interrupt and ask, but women who have swallowed all the compunctions of modesty are being honored today. They strut about with heads erect, and the world honors them not a whit less. Not a whit less. I have no need to acquaint myself with such activities of the present day world. I do not concern myself with them. They may be receiving honor and respect of a sort, but that respect is not authorized or deserved. That is to say, when honor is offered to the undeserving, it cannot be considered as true honor. To even consider such honor as true honor is tantamount to treachery. It is not honor, but flattery that is cast on the immodest. It is like a spittle, dirty and unpleasant. Of course, the modest woman will not crave for honor, fame or praise. Her attention will always be on the limits which she would not transgress. Honor and praise come to her unasked and unnoticed. The honey in the flower or lotus does not crave for bees. They do not plead with the bees to come. Since the bees have tasted that sweetness, they themselves search for the flowers and rush in. The cause for their coming is the association between themselves and sweetness. So too is the relationship between the woman who knows her limits and the respect or honor she evokes. The modest, noble woman will not crave for honor. That is Atma Dharma. If a frog sits on a lotus and proclaims that fact to the world proudly, does it mean that it has tasted or drank the nectar present in that lotus flower? Does it at least know about the presence of nectar contained in the lotus flower? No. Today, the women who are sitting on the piles of name and fame or honor are like the frogs. They neither know the inner meaning, the true dharma latent in those honors, the value hidden in them, nor do they have faith or respect in those honors. So, how can we regard that as honor or respect? No, it can be called non-honor disease. The principle of Atma Dharma will not allow the term woman to be applied to a woman without modesty. If respect and honor are heaped upon a person who does not follow Atma Dharma, it is like heaping decorations on a body that has no life. Will the soul that has left the body enjoy the decorations heaped or the respect shown to the corpse? So too, if a person who is unaware of the yathartha or reality, who has not experienced the Atma or true self, is crowned with fame and glory, who derive joy therefrom. Not bending before such meaningless honors and willing to sacrifice or offer one's own life for upholding Atma, Gauravam or self-respect is the characteristic of a modest woman. That characteristic makes her the Lakshmi or the luster of the home. That is why the wife is referred to as Griha Lakshmi, luster or radiance of the home. If the wife has no such mark, the home becomes the seat of ugliness. Woman is the prop of the home and of tradition. She is the root cause either for the sustenance or destruction of the traditions. Women have a marvelous natural aptitude towards traditions. Women with bhakti or devotion, vishwasa or faith and and vinaya or meekness can lead men on to the Godward path and the practice of holy virtues. They wake up early, before dawn, clean the home, and after finishing bath, etc., sit down for a while, engaged in japam or repetition of the name of God and dhyanam or meditation. They will have in their homes one small room set apart for the worship of the Lord. They will place their images of the Lord as well as the pictures of the holy sages, great devotees, and of wise gurus and guides. They consider the room especially sacred and fill the atmosphere with their prayers both morning and evening, as well as with prarthanas or the prayers, pujas, worship, bhajans, devotional singing, and harati, a ritual of offering lighted camphor to a deity on holy days and festivals. A woman who is steadfastly doing these will be able to transmute even her atheist husband, persuading him to join the prayers or engage in some good activity or some scheme of social service marked by an attitude of dedication to the Lord. Indeed, it is the woman who really maintains and governs the home that is her dharma or duty. They are truly the manifestation of Shakti or divine feminine power. On the other hand, if the wife tries to pull the husband from the Godward path, from the spiritual to the level of the sensual, or if the husband treats the wife who is disposed to seek joy from a spiritual endeavor as a person following the wrong track and tries to drag her away from it to the level of the sensual, the home constituted of such a couple is unworthy of that name. It is hell, not a home. It is an inferno where ghosts and evil spirits revel. Really, woman should devote to her dharma. For that, she should strive to achieve Atma Jnanam or the knowledge of the soul and live every moment in the consciousness of a being only the Atman. She must evince always a desire to become one with Bhagavad Chintanayam, Chaitanyam or the divine consciousness. The home where the woman is such and where both the husband and the wife are leading their lives in the shade of great ideals, where they together sing the glory of the name of the Lord and spend themselves in good deeds, where there reigns Satya or the truth, Prema, love and Shanti, peace, where regular reading of holy books is done, where the senses are under control, and where there is equal treatment for all creation, prompted by the knowledge of the basic unity of all creation and the expression of love. Such a home is certainly heaven on earth, and a wife with such a nature is a wife worth the name. A true Graha Lakshmi is the one whose heart is bounden with real love towards her husband. She must be faithful to her husband, then only is he regarded as a true Ilalu or the housewife or mistress of a house, and a Dharma Patni or the ideal Dharmic wife. She is the source of Dharma, Artha, wealth and Kama or desire. She who knows the mind of her husband and speaks softly and sweetly is not only a wife. Sometimes when she also has to point out the path of Dharma to the husband, she takes on the role even of a father. And when the husband is down with illness, she is the mother. Woman must accord first place to the service, the will, the command of her husband. That is the true worship for her. Her prayers, worship, and spiritual exercises can wait for the second place. Without satisfying the husband, she cannot attain bliss in worship or meditation. As a matter of fact, the Lord must be welcomed as represented in the husband, and all service rendered to him must be elevated to the level of worship. That is the true path of dharma. A wife must recognize and follow. If every achara dharma is performed with an underlining objective of atmartha, or the self-realization, the purpose of life, then all such activities become dedicated to the Lord and eventually result in liberation. It does not matter how bad or low the husband is, the wife must make him happy, strive to turn him into a virtuous one, and help him gain the blessings of the Lord. It is not correct for her to feel that her progress alone matters and she has no concern in his improvement or uplift. She must feel, on the other hand, that the welfare of the husband, the joy of the husband, the wishes of the husband, the salvation of the husband, these are the panacea for her also. Such a woman will receive the grace of the Lord automatically without special effort. Grace will be showered upon her. The Lord will always be by her side and be kind to her in all ways. By her virtue, she will ensure even the salvation of her husband. Jai Sai Ram.
साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ